Welcome to the Take Care Sis podcast with me, Ki, and Kiki.
Join two friends for a conversation around self-care in real life. We'll talk about anything on the spectrum from bubble baths to setting boundaries to managing friendships and more.
As your sisters, we also just want to provide a weekly check-in. You know, like big sis asking little sis, sis, you good? So come on in, sis. Let's talk about how we can take better care of ourselves. What's up, Kiki? How you doing, sis?
Hey, Ki. It's so good to see you, sis.
Oh, sis, how was your week?
The week was okay. It was okay, just a typical week, working and extracurriculars, aka yoga classes and yoga business stuff, the usual.
Right. The life of a full-time worker, part-time entrepreneur. I get it.
Yes.
I get it.
Yes.
Kiki, what did you do for self-care last week?
Okay, so this is very simple and very small, but small things help us to develop habits, right?
Yep.
So my main goal last week was to drink more water. Now, I'm not going to say I'm where I want to be, but if I get at least 48 to 60 ounces a day, I am pretty content with what I'm doing. So I did try to do a little bit more water intake, and I'm going to tell you why, because during this whole pandemic, it's hard for me to pick up water. Instead, I like to pick up things that make me feel good, sugary drinks, things that just taste good. And before all of this, I was really good on drinking water, but I just fell completely off. So I'm just trying to take small steps to get back to where I was. So drinking a little bit more water than I usually do, which ain't much right now. So that was my self-care for the week. Very small, very simple. And I'm hoping to try to keep that up and get back to where I was.
That's interesting you say that. I know for me, it is much easier for me to get adequate water in the summer when it's warmer than in the winter. But ironically, you need the same amount. So like in the winter, you still need your water because you still need to maintain the hydration with the being inside and having those heating elements that are in your house, plus all the pathogens and environmental pollutants that are in your house. And, being outside, it's colder and that attacks your skin. So you need water just as much. But it's always easier for me to grab water in the summer, because in the winter, I want my tea. Like I go tea. I'm a tea fanatic already, y'all. Like shout out to all my tea drinkers out here. I'm a tea fanatic. But during the winter, like I could do 3 cups of tea a day. Easy.
Just tea in itself, nothing else, just tea.
Just tea. And look, I don't even need sugar in my tea. So I feel like that counts as water. A nutritionist told me it doesn't. And, I want to challenge her a little bit. Probably shouldn't.
I always count mine as water. Do you? Because I always wake up with tea. Even when I was going to work full time, actually going into work, I would have a glass of tea and count it as my water. Like this is my liquids for today.
We need to talk to a nutritionist. We need to bring somebody in, talk about nutrition and if my tea counts as water. Because if so, then I'm still staying with my adequate water. If not, then I'm short a little bit. But whatever. I also find that since the pandemic and working from home, it is a little bit harder for me to get the adequate water because I'm not engaging in as many conversations,
Right.
I realize when I talk and stuff, sure, I want the water. I want the water in my mouth, whatever. But being that I'm working from home, I don't exactly have people to talk to. You don't talk that much on Zoom. I'm usually getting informed of something when I'm on these Zoom meetings. So yeah, I'm not talking as much. So
we don't even have a lot of Zoom meetings. Like my job is get your work done. We'll see you. We're actually going in twice a week. So we'll see you 2 days a week and that's it. We really don't have a lot of meetings. And I find that when I was in the office, it was easier for me to go to the break room and get water and go back to my desk because I have it there. Like it's so easy to like get up in or get there in the morning, get your breakfast, get your water, go back to your desk and work. And then when you run out, go back and get more water. When I'm home, I'm just sitting in the same spot. It's hard for
Right.
me to like really motivate myself to get up and get water. And I
Mhm.
mean, that seems weird, but it's definitely hard.
It's so real. So now what I try to do, cheat code everybody. So, you know, you got your Fitbits and your Apple Watches, and at the top of the hour or whatever, they go off to make sure you get your steps for the hour.
Mhm.
Also drink water at that time. There you go. Don't say I never told you something.
And you know, I'm guilty because I mean, I don't have a Fitbit or Apple Watch, but I mean, I have a smartwatch and I can set it so that when I need to drink water, it actually goes off. But you know, sometimes that's hard too because I just turn the alarm off and keep going.
Because you'd be in the middle of something. I know, I've been there. I'm there often. I'd be
And
like,
it's,
yeah,
it
okay, hold on.
usually is. It usually is in the middle of something. So when you're doing something at work and you're all in and you're almost done or you're halfway through, and then you get an alert and you're just like, all right, 5 minutes, I'm gonna do this. Never
Right.
happened.
All right. All right, listen, we got to focus for the people. Okay, so today we're going to talk about.
Did you say what you did for self-care last week? Did you say that?
Oh, no, I did not. I talked about it I've talked about it last week, but this week I actually like really got into it. I told y'all that I got a manifestation journal, and I found out who the sisters were that wrote it. They are, hold on, I'm coming. Limitless Abundance on Instagram. They wrote the journal. It's a manifestation journal, and it's pretty good. Right now, I'm still in the very beginning where they're teaching you about the law of attraction, seeking or attracting abundance for your life, shadow work, breath work, self-care, all that other stuff. But I was hella excited to see that they talk about self-care, and that was a lot of the things that we talked about. So Kiki, we might have something here. We might have a little something here.
We
But
just
that's oh, and one thing that I do for self-care, little me. So I refuse to get on blood pressure medicine. It's hereditary. High blood pressure runs in my family. So when my doctor was like, so you know, we might be getting close to you getting on blood pressure meds, and I was like, the devil is a lie. So I started adopting for real. I started adopting beet juice into my diet. So I slacked off the last couple weeks around the holidays, you know, but I went ahead and went to my health food store and stocked up. So I got some cases, and I'm starting back to order my cases of my beet juice. So, you know, keep my blood pressure in check because I'm not going on blood pressure medicine. Mm-mm.
I feel you. And I'm scared that my doctor's gonna be like, girl, you pre-diabetic, so I need you to get yourself together.
It's not fun. It's not fun. Don't do the
No.
medicine.
Yeah, I don't want to take medicine, but I mean that also means I have to get my life together. That's why we're talking about self-care.
That's why we're talking about self-care, because this is why we need the self-cares, because
Mm-hmm.
we got to get our lives together. But y'all remember, or maybe hopefully you all tuned in last week, and towards the end I was talking about a client of mine who, just our initial meeting, she was having a hard time figuring out where she was going to fit me and working with me into her schedule. As a reminder, I am a private yoga instructor, and Kiki teaches, she teaches the classes, y'all. She teaches the classes. She got the
I can
classes she
teach
got to
you
play with.
private yoga too. I can do that too. Okay.
Oh no, I wasn't shading you. I was just saying you had classes I didn't. That's it.
I got you too. I'm just throwing it out there. We just throwing ourselves out there.
So we were talking about how one of my clients, during our initial contact, she was having a hard time figuring out where she was going to fit me in. And we were like, yo, we got to discuss it. So here we are. We're discussing it today. So if self-care is self-love, why is it so hard to do? Kiki?
Because everybody, we live in a society where it's where it's okay, or people have made it okay to pack your schedule with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody looks at productivity in a way where you don't need to sleep, you don't need to have much free time, you have to always be doing something. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that that is one of the reasons why it's so hard to fit in something else. Self-care is always something else. It's never completely a priority, and that's why we're doing this, is to tell y'all it needs to be a priority.
Yep.
And if it's not a priority, you're not going to try to fit it into your schedule.
All right, so I did a little research, y'all. And first I found something on everyday health, and a professor named Paula Gil Lopez, she says that we have an epidemic of anxiety and depression. She says everyone feels it. I do believe this article was written 2020 maybe. So she was talking about since 2015, she had seen an increase in patients with anxiety and depression. So y'all know in 2020, this good old pandemic happened, or I don't know where we are now. Is it an endemic still? I don't know, but the pandemic
I think we're
started.
still in a panoramic.
We're still in a panoramic? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They go on to say self-care is part of the answer to how we can all better cope with daily stressors. That's from an author named Kelsey Patel. She said it's work stress. It's the stress of trying to keep up with the pace of daily life. With technology has hastened more than ever. Just think about how many emails flood your inbox in a day. People are feeling lonelier and less able to unwind and slow down, which makes them feel more anxious and overwhelmed by even the simplest of tasks. So basically, this information highway that we're on, we're now at warp speed. You got Google at your fingertips. You got TikToks and Instagram. It's just so, we're getting so much information in that we're beginning to kind of feel like we can't keep up. And that's just because we have too many things going on. And it's not just you, it's your kids. Your kids are getting all these things. Your spouse is getting all these things. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And so it gives you, we all have an added level of anxiety, not to mention the panoramic. So now you got to worry about your kids catching it, you catching it, your spouse catching it, bringing it home, spreading it, or, and that's for healthy people. You have any type of underlying issue. I mean, you also have death to think about. That's crazy. And then
Absolutely.
we're not socializing as much. So here comes the depression. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of reasons why it can be hard. But those are just, anxiety, so on and so forth. Excuse me. Ki, you want to add anything?
Adding on to what you said, we get so much stimuli on a regular basis. Like it's hard for us to slow down and actually take moments of self-care. So like we're being constantly fed videos, constantly fed information, constantly fed anything. Everything, like you said, is at our fingertips. We do not make time to basically unplug, and that's what we need to do. Electronic devices, from TVs, from phones, from everything around you that you just have to constantly look at. It's hard because this is our norm now. It used to not be the norm, but now it is.
Nope. Yep. Yeah, think about the concept of working from home. Like I started working from home pretty much as soon as the pandemic hit. But what I didn't realize, because right as the pandemic started, I started a new job in February. And in that job, I would have been a remote worker, and I would have been a remote employee regardless. So I was going to be working from home, but it just kind of coincided with the pandemic for me. But even working remotely, that's a newer concept, and it's bliss for me. I enjoy working from home. The introvert in me loves it, but yeah, it was something hard for a lot of companies to grasp, but a lot of people had a hard time with it. And a lot of mothers in particular have a hard time of working from home because they don't get a break. You at least previously used to get that 5-10 minute, whatever your commute was to and from picking up children. If you have children, well, you are a mother, you have children. So yeah, that. If you picking up your kids, you at least had that break between dropping them off and picking them up, right? Or, if it's your spouse, your loving, wonderful spouse that irks your soul. Yeah, if it's that one, you at least got a break, in your commute home. But now you don't really have that. And my points that I was going to bring up was effort. It takes a lot more effort to do self-care. And right now, in the middle of this pandemic, it seems like everything takes effort because you literally have to schedule it now. Like I know my phone, and I start receiving emails as early as like 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't technically clock in, quote unquote, until about 10. But from 8 a.m. until sometimes 9 o'clock p.m., my phone is going off and getting emails, text messages, so on and so forth. And, I really have to set those boundaries. But even setting the boundary takes effort because here it is. My phone is yelling at me like, hey. Right. So yeah, it's like you said, I have to unplug. So now I have learned my D&D is scheduled. I ain't going to get all them calls and emails. But it takes that kind of effort. And then just think about it. Like, if I am exhausted because I've worked a full day, and if my mama asks me one more time, what are you exhausted from? You're home all day. If she asks me that one more time.
Oh my God.
She asked me that one more time, y'all.
People think that because you work from home that it is so easy, but you're mentally exhausted at the end of the day. You don't want to do anything that makes you think. I don't.
No.
When I close my computer at 5, I don't even want to talk on the phone. Like, give me about an hour and I might want to talk to you.
Right.
Yeah, it's mentally exhausting. We're not physically exhausted like most people who go to work, but you're mentally exhausted. Like, you don't want to think. You don't.
Yep. She got one more time, y'all. Sorry. I love her. But Ryan, come get your mama, because she asked me one more time. Christopher, come get your mom. If she asked me one more time, what am I doing being tired? Yeah. So
I just want to piggyback off of what you said also about mothers. About mothers going to work in this pandemic, especially working from home, and it being exhausting and stressful for them. What I've seen, especially in my place of employment, is the people who have kids actually like coming to work because they get away from the kids. The people who do not, they love to work from home because they don't have those distractions. So this all ties into our self-care talk, as you have to know what works for you. And if you have the office and if you are working from home, ask them, can you come in for a few hours? Give yourself a break and get some work done. Like most of the time, what I hear from them is that they use, kind of the mornings up until lunch to get their kids settled into their learning environments. And then after that, they can kind of get work done, but not really. So still struggle all day.
Listen, shout out to any mother or any parent that is also dealing with the learning environment, because that sounds like hell to me. Like, no, I would send my kids off to that good old public school for that reason. This is why I don't have kids. This is why. Back to where I was going with my point earlier, y'all. The effort. So if you have been working all day and then you got to get the kids learning environments and you got to cook and you got to do, attend to housework and all that other stuff, like carving out more time for self-care is just one more thing on your list, and it is exhausting. And so people just would almost rather skip it because it's just like, like I can't put one more thing on my schedule.
Exactly.
So we get it. We totally understand. We understand, ladies. One other common thing that people do when it comes to self-care is they picture self-care with self-indulgence. This becomes a generational thing too, because like my mama, she got one more time. one more time to be like, oh, so you're gonna do that again? Yes, I am. Yes, I am, Mom. Yes, I'm gonna do it again because this is my self-care. And again, people kind of look at it as self-indulgence because, like,
Mm-hmm.
say for example, self-care. Say you are those people that your massage is a self-care, is a mode of self-care for you. And God bless these massage companies that have like monthly membership packages. Shout out to shout out to the Cave in Hope Mills, North Carolina. Whew, okay, but anyway, so they got a membership package, right? And you start to think of those things as overindulgences, especially if you're on a budget. You'd be like, dang, but do I get a massage that's $100 this month, or do I put an extra 100 in my 401k? Like, you know what I mean? You got
Mm-hmm.
decisions to make. You got decisions to make. And so it kind of looks a little self-indulgence-y, kind of looks a little selfish-y, kind of looks a little wasteful-y, but
Right.
you hit it on the head earlier about like mental stability and mental health.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot put a price and you cannot quantify how much mental work your brain does, right? Um, I I have a long day or I have a hard day because of the mental work that I have to do. My
Mm-hmm.
mother's day looks like she physically had to go to work and physically had to do XYZ task. It
Mm-hmm.
looks differently. I'm not saying she had any easier of a day. I'm not saying that I had any harder of a day, but we can't keep equating those things. We have to
Mm-hmm.
stop that, people, because mental work is work still, regardless.
Right.
But you have to understand the relationship you have with your self-care. So for people who, this article that I was reading gave the example of like people who consume sweets, right? Me, this girl. But
Yes,
they were
ma'am.
saying that,
Mm-hmm.
for someone who works out regularly, their health and their wealth is under control, having a slice of cake might not be a big deal. But to someone who is struggling in any one of those areas, that piece of cake might, not be the best thing.
Mm-hmm.
And are they using it for comfort? Are they using it because they need it? You know what I mean? Like, what's your
Right.
relationship with food? You need to get in contact. You need to get in touch with that before you can actually judge, because we're our biggest judges and critics. Before you
Yes.
start judging yourself on whether this is self-indulgence versus self-care, figure out your relationship with that. That's what I have to say about that one.
And I think we have to, back to the emphasis on mothers, we have to stop
My mother.
thinking, or they have to start thinking that it is a self-indulgence and it's something that makes them feel like it's taken away from their time. This is something that is beneficial to them and they need to do it. And a lot of times they feel guilty because, of course, the kids come first, but you have to remember that you were a person before you had these kids and you have to maintain your own self and make sure that you're recharging yourself so that you can pour into your kids.
We're going to have a whole episode about mothers, because I got a lot more to say about that woman that gave birth to me. Love her. Love her. I do. I love her. She teaches me a lot of what not to do. But that leads right into another barrier to self-care, which is shame.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, listen. Come on. Come here, sis. Come here. Come here. Listen. For too long, Black women have been carrying the fucking mantle. Yeah, I said it. We've been carrying the fucking mantle of being, oh, I'm an independent Black woman and I don't need nobody. Hey, listen. So then what happens
I don't want it anymore.
Huh?
I don't want that anymore.
I don't want it anymore. So then what happens is when we begin to feel weak, when we begin to feel tired, when we begin to feel anxious or even depressed, we then have so much shame and guilt associated with it. And so then we don't take care of ourselves. And then it becomes this ugly little cycle, because the less self-care that you do and the less self-love that you inflict on yourself, the worse you feel. The worse you feel, the less you feel like doing anything for self-care. And then it's just that same circle. Like, have you had those days where you're just down and depressed? Like, you don't feel like bathing, you in a
Mhm.
robe, you ain't really, you might not have brushed your teeth, your hair's still in a bonnet, like all of that stuff. Like, we've had those days, right? But think
Yes.
about that. Like, you didn't bathe, so you're neglecting your skin, you neglecting your oral health, you neglecting your hair health. Is
Mm.
hair health a thing? You're
Mhm.
just neglecting yourself that day. Um, and when those days begin to compound, that's when it becomes an issue. But we got to put down this stigma. Like, Black women, we ain't got shit to prove to nobody.
No.
Nobody. Nobody. So put that mantle down, sis. Put it down. It's okay to it's okay to be not so strong all the time. It's okay to be not independent. I mean, if you got bills, you should pay them. But it's okay to not be independent. It's okay to not be that strong woman. Moms, it's okay to put that little dude in front of the camera. I mean, I'm sorry, in front of the TV, and you take a minute to go take 5 breaths. It's okay to put them in the playpen, let them cry a little bit. Like it's okay. You have to take care of you, because if you don't take care of you, think about all the people that depend on you,
Mhm.
right? So if you were the nucleus of that, without you, then what happens?
Everything falls apart. So if you're falling apart, then everybody else is going to fall apart, and they're not going to know what to do.
Yep. I saw this horrible Facebook post, and it was this mom of 2 committed suicide, and
Mhm.
I didn't commit suicide because of my kids, or I didn't commit suicide because I didn't like being a mother. I was just tired. And so someone went into their own version of what that meant for this woman, and how, being a mom can be exhausting. But what it was the woman was saying that she was tired of doing it by herself. She didn't have a good support system where she could get babysitters, and where she could get just breaks for herself, and so on and so forth. So she ended up taking her life. And my thought was, that's hella sad. Don't get me wrong. I did think that. But my thought was, well, what about the kids? Like, if you didn't have, once again, she's the nucleus of that. So now that you remove yourself from that situation, where's the kid system now? Because they didn't have the support system when you were there. It was only you. If you remove yourself from the system, then what happens? I mean, it's a sad situation all the way around. So this is my, hey y'all, go check on your single mom friends with kids. Go check on them.
Right.
In fact, go, go babysit for like 2 hours. Let's just have a break. But again, shame and guilt. We gotta get out of that circle, people. We gotta get out of that circle as a culture, because it's killing us, literally.
Right. Right.
And then the last thing I found, I'm gonna stop talking, is negativity bias. So negativity bias is the propensity to attend to, learn from, and use negative information far more than positive information. When I made this discovery about myself, I didn't know that there were words for it. And so I was just like, I'm addicted to hurt. Like, sometimes the hurt
Mhm.
feels so much better than feeling good. And so, like, when someone, you could do 10 good things in a day, but it would be that one negative
One
criticism
thing.
you got that fuels you for the next week. And I see this a lot in our culture too. We're just like, that one teacher in 5th grade told me I wasn't gonna be shit. So here I am. I'm out here hustling because, like, really? You holding on to,
Mhm.
I promise you that teacher ain't holding on to it. I promise you.
Right.
Teacher done forgot. Teacher don't even remember who
Mhm.
you is. But you holding on to that in that negative way. And some people look at it as drive and think it's a positive thing, but it also has very negative connotations, because
Right.
you're addicted to that pain. Yep. So there's words behind it, y'all. I didn't know there was words behind it. And then I found the words, and it's called negativity bias. But knowing that you were supposed to take care of yourself, because we all know that we're supposed to be giving ourselves self-love. We all know that we're supposed to be taking care of ourselves, but we don't do it. And then we have negative thoughts to doing it. And so it just, once again, it stays in that circle. You might
Right.
start to, like, for example, COVID, right? In COVID, in the beginning there was some nails that was way grown out, because people wasn't getting because ladies couldn't get their fill-ins. Everybody was trying to
Guilty.
do their own, all the things.
Guilty.
Huh?
I said guilty.
Yeah, that was a rough aesthetic. About 6 months aesthetically, it was kind of rough to some people. Everybody was doing their own eyelashes and eyebrows and hair and stuff. Shout out to all of you. It was rough. It was rough for about 6 months there in the pandemic, but we all know that, right? But just think about like that negativity we had associated with the pandemic, and the pandemic's a real thing. So I'm not saying that that's bad or good, or I'm not saying that that's bad. The COVID is a real thing. The pandemic is a real thing. People's reactions to it are real as well. But I am saying that between the media hype around it, the sensationalism, and everyone just being on heightened edge, we now have formed various negative biases. And so one I can think about in particular was like massages. Nobody wants to get a massage because nobody wants to be around a practitioner during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But our negative association with that, health facilities like that sometimes are the cleanest places on earth.
Yeah, they are.
So, you gotta kind of
You have to
change
flip your perspective.
Right. You gotta change the way you look at things. All right, Kiki, I'm done. I'm almost done. You got anything you want to add?
I feel like I had something to add and I forgot what it was. For the negativity bias.
We'll give you space to come back to it, friend. Okay. So, if self-care is an act of love, so is accountability. So y'all, I am big on accountability, whether it's accountability to yourself or whether it's having someone in and coming in and helping you with the accountability, therapy, your good sis, all that accountability, and it's really good for you. So that said, we thought of some tips to help you work self-care into your schedule, because that right there is a form of accountability. Work it into your schedule. They say it takes 21 days to make a habit. So if you're not in the habit of doing something for self-care, try something small and slight for 21 days.
Very small.
Work it into your schedule. Go ahead, Kiki.
You can start very small, and we talked about this before we started recording, but I always tell people to find something that you can do for 5 minutes for yourself. 5 minutes of self-care is better than none. You can think about journaling for 5 minutes, taking about 5 minutes to breathe. I know a lot of people like to take 5 minutes to sit in their car before they go in the house.
Amen.
I see a lot of people doing that.
Amen.
Just 5 minutes of something for yourself. And it does not need to be around people, because once you try to fit self-care, you're constantly being bombarded with stimuli around you. It just defeats the purpose. So somewhere where you can be by yourself. Listen, if you ain't got no space at home or you got too many people in your house, find 5 minutes after work, 5 minutes before work. Like, what can you do? Like, when you get to the office, sit in your office for 5 minutes, or sit in your cubicle for 5 minutes. Don't say anything to anyone. Breathe, get your mind right, get yourself together. Where can you fit in 5 minutes of self-care for the day? It can be right before bed. You can sit in bed and just breathe for 5 minutes, stare up at the ceiling, something that's going to help you to just release or not focus on the stimuli around you. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense. My mom friends, they often tell me about how they will like clean up the house or something before the kids wake up. Or if I'm going to do something, I got to do it before the kids wake up. And I find that they're always, once again, doing something. So they're working even more. But a habit that I would love to see my mom friends break is that if you get up to do something, anything before the kids wake up, like I would challenge you to make that an act of self-care, not cleaning the house. And yes, for all you people to be like, oh, but I don't feel good unless my house is clean. Hey, this is where a perfect
It's
moment.
me. I'm people.
um, this is a perfect moment or a perfect opportunity for you to help you show your kids how to help you clean up. And this literally can happen as soon as these little jokers start walking, literally. You know, you get them to help you with putting away the toys at the end of the night or the end of the day. And again, you can show them as early as they start walking. But for you to wake
Girl,
up early.
all these kids cartoons tell these kids how to clean up. Pick a song, sing it, and y'all clean up together.
My go-to is good old Barney. Once again, I hate myself. But Barney had the song clean up, clean. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So teach your kids to help you. So it's not you, the mom, or you, the parent, doing it all the time by yourself. So then if your kid wakes up at 6:30 and you wake up at 5:30, that's your moment to get for yourself. So you can meditate for 5 minutes. You can deep breathe for 5 minutes. You can work out for 5. You want to work out for longer than 5 minutes, but you get my point. And Kiki said 5. I am a proponent. I usually tell my clients to start off with something even smaller, like a 2-minute or 1 minute of breath work. 1 minute's my favorite. So like 1 minute of breath work, 3 minutes of meditation.
There are so many 1 minute meditations on Insight Timer app, on even on YouTube, anywhere. They have 1 minute meditations. You can probably find people on Instagram that do 1 minute meditations or 1 minute breathing exercises. Doesn't have to be one, doesn't have to be 3 minutes, doesn't have to be 5. Whatever you can fit into your schedule, do it.
Yep. And find something on YouTube that you like. Find a meditation on YouTube that you like. If it's 20 minutes, hey, guess what? If you only have a minute, you got 20 episodes. But yeah. Holding yourself accountability or self-accountability is key too. It is something that's a little harder because, you know, like when I have to work out on my own, I might choose to cut off the treadmill right at 30 minutes. But, you know, self-accountability, I'd be like, oh, but I did my 30 minutes though. This is why you hire a trainer, because they'll make you go harder in 30 minutes or for 31. That's neither here. Self-accountability, you gotta develop it. You gotta develop it. Self-accountability is just like what I think ethics. It's what you do when no one's looking. So yes, that's self-accountability. But I found this super cute meme that I sent to, actually it was a tweet, but whatever. I actually sent it to my friend who works entirely too hard. And if she's listening, go take a break. But it was, somebody posted it on Twitter and it was like, from now on, try to schedule your month with these: 1 lunch date with a friend, 24 hours, no social media, 1 day outdoors, 1 night out with friends, a date night, even if it's just with yourself, a breakfast meetup with friends, a movie night, a day serving others, and 1 complete day to yourself. And that sounds like a lot, right? Because it's like, I held it with like 10 fingers. Sounds like a lot that it's 10 things, but literally, if it's in 1 month, you still have 20 days to do none of that.
Right.
But those are things
some
like
of that can be combined. So like if you want to have a date with yourself, go ahead and get you some food, go sit outside, and you outside. So you got 2 things off your list.
Ma'am, it's 10. It's not combining. It's not combining. Stop it. We always trying to combine stuff. No. 10 separate things, ma'am. But what I like about it is it's 10 things that you can schedule. I'm big for scheduling. I schedule my days. In my day, I have a checklist. That's just who I am. It helps me function. I might have a little ADD and that's fine. But the scheduling helps me a lot. And even like I said, if you got to schedule your breath work, one thing that I discovered in the pandemic, and I don't have the flexibility to do this every day, I don't, but the days that I do, it is so refreshing. But it's so refreshing for me to take a class in the middle of the day. Like when I can just turn off a little bit, and I set it per schedule, but if I can turn off a little bit take that exercise moment, and then come back. Listen, that afternoon, I'd be a whole new woman. But
Yeah,
I
because
schedule.
it's the afternoon pickup. That's something that you need to do in the middle of the day.
Yep.
And that's
But I
why we
schedule.
recommend moving in the middle of the day, because we all have the afternoon slump. So
Yep. Yep. So that's what I do. I schedule it. And I mean, this is stuff like, excuse me, meal prepping. Meal prepping is just scheduling what you're going to eat. I don't like the meal prep because I can't stand to schedule what I eat. But that's just Nakia. But meal prepping is a form of scheduling.
It works for me. It works, and I'm going to tell you why. Because that's one less thing I have to think about is what I'm going to eat. So if I have it already prepped and I just have to warm it and eat it, or like prepare your meal for that moment, then I don't have to think about what I have to eat.
That is beautiful. I'm not going to eat it, but that is beautiful. But did you hear the beauty in what she said? She said that's one less thing she got to think about. It becomes so automatic and it's just right there. She don't have to think about it.
And I think about it also in terms of I'm single, so like I ain't got to cook for nobody but myself. So having to like stop and cook full meals, that's not lucrative for me sometimes. If I go ahead and plan it out, all I gotta do is pick it up, eat it, and I'm done. I ain't gotta prep it. I ain't gotta sit here and cook and then have like 50 meals in my fridge that I don't want to eat no more. Like it's bliss. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think about it. But I know some people they get bored with that and they don't like to do meal prep.
That's me. That's me. Because look, if I meal prep, if I be like, okay, I'm going to have salmon and then I'm going to have tuna, and then you can tell I kind of do pescatarian. If I say I'm going to do salmon, tuna, and then like a shrimp dish, right? Never fails. I will cook those three. And then the rest of the week, I want like shrimp pizza. So here you go. I just wasted a whole bunch of money because I didn't prep 3 meals and I didn't eat. I'm doing better with my HelloFresh, y'all. I am.
I was about to say that. I was like, that's the next thing on the list. That's probably the best thing that's been helping me as well, because I love me a HelloFresh meal. Like,
y'all, like my name is Martha Stewart. I've been cooking. What?
HelloFresh has allowed us to be chefs in 30 minutes and with as little prep as possible.
Lies. Those things never take 30 minutes. They always add 10 to 20 on whatever else I'm cooking. Maybe it's just me.
It's the prep most of the time. The cooking usually doesn't take long.
That's true.
It's usually the cutting of the vegetables that takes the longest, because I am, you know how I am. I get to try to be precise with crap, and
I can pull out a ruler and every.
No, I don't pull out rulers. Don't come for me, okay? Don't come for me, Ki. Don't you come for me. I see you over there giggling. She over here giggling at me, y'all. I'm a bit of a perfectionist sometimes.
Yeah, sis, you know, you're a little more exact than me.
Okay, go ahead, Ruthie. What you were gonna say?
Anyway, this is holding yourself accountable. The last form of accountability I would think is holding your sister accountable, like this right here. This whole podcast is to help you be accountable. We, your sisters, Ki and Kiki, want to help hold you accountable so that you can take better care of yourself, sis. Go ahead, Kiki. I just can't.
I mean, it's you speaking truth here. Sometimes, you know, we get a little annoyed when people ask us stuff, but sometimes it helps when people come and ask, hey, did you do this today? Or did you follow up on this? Did you follow up on your appointment? Did you set your appointment? Did you write in your journal today? What did you write about? You know, like, what did you reflect on today? Did you work on your business? You know, did you go to that class? Did you do your hair? Did you get out of the bed? Did you take a shower? You know? It can be anything. Like, you just ask. I know it gets annoying sometimes, but I mean, sometimes it helps to know that somebody cares about you just as much as you care about yourself.
And sometimes it takes picking that right person. Like, I have various people in my life that hold me accountable on various things because that's their strength. So like one of my girlfriends, she holds me accountable on working out. Literally, I told her, I was like, if you haven't heard that I've been working out or you haven't seen me post anything in my stories in a little while, check on me, sis. Like, make sure that I did something. That's her job. And I hate to say job, but like, you know, as my friend, I tend to think friendships require work. That's just how my philosophy of friendships require some type of work on both parts. And if you aren't working,
Friendships are just platonic relationships, so you have to work on them, of course.
That's
what it is.
The one requirement of being my friend is I might ask you to hold me accountable on something. Have someone else to help me financially accountable. I have another friend that helps me be accountable to, you know, certain, to be nice. Yes, we'll say that, to be nice to certain other people in my life. Yep. So, right.
I used to have a friend that we just held each other accountable to our goals. So like we call each other every week and just kind of check in. Even if the check-in wasn't what we wanted it to be, it was still a check-in. Like, I didn't get it done this week because of this, this, and this, and I know that, but we still checking in with each other.
Yeah, this has to be someone that you trust.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I got. That's what I got. So, Kiki, you want to bless the good people?
How do you want me to bless the good people?
I think the good people need like a minute of like breath work.
A minute of breath work. Can we do this in a minute? All right, everyone. Let's see if we can do this in 1 minute, because I like to teach long breath work practices. But we're gonna see. All right. So, and you're gonna do this too because I'm watching you.
All right,
I'm watching you. So go ahead and sit tall in your seat. Roll your shoulders up and back. Open your chest. And then bring one hand to your heart, one to your belly. We're going to practice a 3-part breath. So for the first part, we're going to inhale into the belly. So think about your belly expanding into your hand just a little bit. Inhale, pause here, and then bring both hands to your rib cage. So fingers are pointing towards the front of your body and thumb is towards the back. And then inhale up through your ribs, pause, and then bring your hand back to your chest. You're going to inhale up into your chest. All right, at the top of the breath, open the mouth and exhale. Let's do it again. Inhale into the belly. Pause. Inhale up through the ribs. Pause. Inhale up into the chest. Open the mouth and exhale. One more time, sis. Inhale into the belly. Pause. Up through the ribs. Inhale. Pause. Up into the chest. Hold at top of the breath. Open the mouth and exhale all the way out. That is your minute of breathing.
That's
just
cute.
A quick minute.
I love that because that top breath, I'm really bad about. I'm really bad about top breath, like Nakia as a practitioner or in my practice, I'm really bad about that top breath. So I like the key of bringing my hands to my chest. I like that, Kiki girl.
It's all about awareness. So like, you know where you're breathing, you know what's happening. Even though it may feel funny if you don't practice breathing like that regularly, it helps bring awareness to what you're doing in the moment.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, sis, it's about that time we need to close out. What are you going to work on this week? How can I hold you accountable? Or in
Water.
what area? Water?
Water.
Okay.
Like, I gotta drink water. I gotta start somewhere, you know. We work on the food next time, but water, that's what I need. Okay.
Bet. Me?
And I'm gonna set my bar low. And I know people be like, that's not enough water. 48 ounces of water. That's what I'm working towards a day.
We all start somewhere. We all start somewhere.
So 48 ounces will work for me. That's 2 tall cups of water. And I have a big cup. So
You know what? I'm gonna meet your water, and you can hold me accountable for water too. I'm gonna try to do 2 of these jokers. So that's what, 64 ounces?
Mhm.
Yes. So I'm gonna try to get 64 ounces a day this week. So there we go. That's mine.
all right. That's what we're gonna do.
All
So
right.
Ki, where can the people find you? Tell them what you can give them.
People can find me on Instagram at yoga_with_Ki, Ki. You can find me on Instagram there, or you can find me on Yoga with Ki at, oh God, what's my website? Netspace.com. That's it. It's netspace.com. So Yoga with Ki at netspace.com. No hyphens or no underscores. And I am a private yoga instructor. So if you are, as a matter of fact, I have space for 2 more clients. So if you need some personal attention in your yoga practice, whether you are looking to achieve a certain goal, or you just need to learn how to incorporate wellness, whatever your goals are, let me help you help yourself find these. And yeah, I got 2 slots open.
Y'all better grab those spots. Y'all better grab them.
Kiki, what, you got something cool going on right now, right?
Okay, yeah, I do. So first off, y'all can find me on all social media platforms at This Curvy Yogi. That is curvy with an I, not a Y. And right now I'm doing classes. Of course, you can go to thiscurvyyogi.com, sign up for classes, all of those things. But right now I am doing a 30-day series. So if you're interested in starting your yoga practice and you don't want to have a long class or go to a long class and feel intimidated and all those things, you can start with the 30-day journey, because that is 10 minutes of yoga per day, and that will be yoga flows, meditations, journal prompts, and more. So if you want to sign up for that, you can go to my website.
But Kiki, about this, so like if I start today, am I on day 1 or are y'all on day like 29?
So when you sign up for the email list, you will technically start your journey the next day. The first day is preparation. I tell you what to expect. I tell you what props or what materials you may need. And then the next day will start your yoga practice.
That's pretty dope.
Yes.
Well, we thank you for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you again, or you listening to us again. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see y'all next time.
But sis, I want you to take care.
I want you to take care, sis.
Yes, I will. See y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.